Now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce someone who's just returned from space and who's helped to invent an entirely new space transportation system. Space is becoming accessible like never before, from digitally connecting our planet in unprecedented ways to whole new worlds of resources, extraordinary scientific discovery, and even vacations that were once purely the realm of science fiction. Humankind is poised to venture out into the cosmos. But getting there requires new ways of thinking, the brightest minds, advanced aerospace development, and a high-tech talent pool like the world has never seen before. So Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Group, knows about both the challenges and the opportunities that are at hand as humanity begins to open the doors more widely to space exploration. Virgin started as a mail-order record retailer in 1970. Today, there are now more than 40 Virgin companies worldwide in over 35 countries. So Richard has challenged himself with many record-breaking adventures, including the fastest ever Atlantic Ocean crossing, a series of oceanic balloon journeys, and kite surfing across the channel. He's described Virgin Galactic, the world's first commercial space line, as being the greatest adventure of all. He has nearly 40 million followers on social media, and he blogs regularly on issues ranging from entrepreneurship to the environment and adventure to purpose.
I'm a person that looks forward more than looks back. When I started 50 years ago as an entrepreneur, the word entrepreneur I don't think existed.
The airline's the brainchild of Richard Branson, 34-year-old millionaire head of the Virgin Records empire.
I think an entrepreneur is somebody that creates something that makes a positive difference to other people's lives. I'm a born optimist, a very positive person. Both my children have inherited that from me. And I was very lucky, I had a very happy childhood. One of the things I enjoy the most is teaching people to swim.
No, you shouldn't think, Archbishop. You just go.
I find it quite an easy thing to do, and it's wonderfully satisfying to help them stand on their own 2 feet.
That was brilliant.
Why do you have so much money?
The exciting thing about learning to be an entrepreneur is then later on in life you can be creating not-for-profit businesses, not-for-profit things to try to deal with the problems of the world. I've been lucky enough to help create the Elders, which is a wonderful group of people that are trying to tackle conflict resolution issues in the world.
The Elders can become a fiercely independent and robust force for good.
The Oceanic Elders to try to tackle the problems of the oceans. The Carbon War Room to try to tackle climate change. My attitude in life is to give everything I can to solve the problem. Trying to go to space has been tough, very tough. The old saying, it's not rocket science. Well, obviously, if you're trying to go to space, it is rocket science.
Armed. Fire.
I get enormous satisfaction trying to achieve something that has never been achieved before. My favorite phrase to all the people around me is, screw it, just get on and do it.
Thank you for that introduction. Thank you also to the Canadian Chamber of Commerce for organising this wonderful event. And it's so nice to be with you all. And it's wonderful to see so many leaders from the business community come together to share their ideas and how we all can shape the future around aviation and space exploration, something which I have a little interest in.
Richard, thank you so much for joining us today. You've had a celebrated trip into space very recently, but when you take a look at your professional journey over the years, it's been equally incredible. Perhaps you could tell us a bit about that journey, starting from Virgin Atlantic to Virgin Galactic and now Virgin Orbit.
Oh, so I left school when I was 15 years old to start a magazine to campaign against the Vietnamese War, which I thought was a very unjust war, which most wars are. And I think a lot of other young people of my age felt the same thing. In order for the magazine to survive, I had to learn to become an entrepreneur. And so, learn to sell advertising, learn to try to pay the bills, learn to, distribution and so on. And that held me in very good stead. It turned into my education. And ever since then, if I see something that's not being done well, I will jump in with our team and say, screw it, let's do it. We can do it better than it's been done, and we give it a go. And sometimes we fall flat on our face, sometimes we succeed. And in the process, I think we've set up something like $20 billion companies from scratch. The reason we've succeeded more often than we failed is we've managed to get great people around us. They believe in what we're doing. They believe that each company is making a big difference in this, whatever sector we go in. And we've had a blast, and it's by and large, been more successful than it hasn't. So, there hasn't been a sort of an obvious, like, okay, you're in the record business, let's go into the airline business. You're in the airline business, let's go into the space business. It's more been a yearning to learn, a yearning to achieve things that haven't been achieved before, a yearning to really sort of push ourselves to the limits and see what we're capable of. And it's been a lot of fun. And by diversifying, which some people thought we were mad to do originally, it has saved our bacon on occasions. I mean, like right now, our airline is pretty well grounded for 18 months. Our cruise companies are grounded. Our health clubs are grounded, and so on. And it's things like, Virgin Plus in Canada that taps into space to communicate to people back here on Earth through mobile phones and other things, or through space itself that we've managed to pay the bills.
So the threads that have tied it together have been entrepreneurship and a sense of adventure as you've moved from.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's literally, like a lot of our businesses have just come about through frustration. I mean, I was, when I was 28, I was trying to get to see a lovely lady in the Virgin Islands. And I was in Puerto Rico, and I was on a plane ready to take off, and the captain came on and said, sorry, we haven't got a full plane, and the powers that be have said we're going to have to combine flights tomorrow morning. And I thought, screw that, and I want to get there tonight. So I hired a plane, got a blackboard, wrote Virgin Airways one way to the Virgin Islands, and went to all the people who got bumped, $39, filled up my plane, and lots of happy people got to the Virgin Islands that night. And then the next day I rang up Boeing and said, hello, my name is Richard Branson. Do you have a second-hand 747 for sale? And somehow managed to convince them to let me have a plane. And we, 37 years later, we have really quite a wonderful airline with Virgin Atlantic, flying most of the major cities in the world, all out of a personal frustration.
Wonderful story. You mentioned earlier in your introductory remarks that it's important that the entire business community is represented today. And I want to underscore that, since aviation, aerospace, and space exploration have enormously far-reaching impacts, and you perhaps more than anybody else would understand how so-called non-space businesses interact with space businesses. Can you tell us a bit about the synergies?
Well, look, space literally, space exploration transforms pretty well everything we do back here on Earth. If it wasn't for space exploration, you and I wouldn't be talking today. You know, I mean, it's really helped massively with communication. But it's also through space that we can monitor climate change, we can monitor agriculture, we can monitor degradation of the rainforests, we can monitor illegal fishing. I mean, there are numerous things that space can do for people back here on Earth, and hope, and potentially even, you know, space may come up with the answer for climate change. And I mean, can we put, giant mirrors up to reflect the sun? I mean, there are those who are exploring the oceans are wondering whether we can pump CO2 right down to the depths of the ocean, and those who are dealing with space are looking at extraordinary ideas. But if things get desperate, which I think they will do, we're going to need every idea we've got, and I think space could play a part.
Let's look at the future a bit. As we look towards the future today, if you could simply snap your fingers and change one thing to help further lower costs and open space up to more people, what would it be? For example, would you create more school STEM programs, or reduce regulatory burdens, or make capital easier to access? What should policymakers be prioritizing to help to get more people to space?
Well, I think entrepreneurs, we've just got to get, I mean, they're definitely, the demand for space is massive. I mean, I just loved the feedback I got from young kids after our space flight. And my granddaughter, when I got back, she got it slightly wrong, but she's only 2 years old. Papa gone to the moon, Papa gone to the moon, every time the moon comes out. Did you bring any aliens back? Was another comment from my 5-year-old grandson. But anyway, there's plenty of interest amongst very young kids and kids at school to go to space. So I think two things. One, we commercially, who are building spaceships, need to hurry up and build quite a few of them. To enable people, kids who really want to go to space one day, to go to space. I think that governments, do need to try to encourage schools to do more STEM programs, and for kids, just generally to learn more, about rocket science and space and science generally, and then I think governments and the private industry can work together. I mean, we would be very interested if you were interested in bringing our space program to Canada. I mean, we're bringing it to the UK, we're bringing it to Brazil. Our other spaceship company, Virgin Orbit, can launches from a 747, and it can launch from anywhere in the world, and it can launch into any orbit within 24 hours notice. And so that's something we'd love to talk to the Canadian government about, and see whether we could maybe set up a base in Canada in the future. But anyway, I wish all the young people who are interested in space all the best with it, because it's very exciting, and I hope they can one day have a voyage. And I'm a little biased, but I hope their first voyage is on a Virgin Galactic spaceship.
Richard, thank you so much for being with us today and for sharing your insights. Your enthusiasm's infectious, and you hold open some pretty exciting possibilities for us. I really can't think of anybody either on the Earth or off it who would have been better to kick off today's summit. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
And best of luck with the summit, and best of luck to all. I love Canada. I love the Canadian people. I love your tennis player. I think the world has fallen in love with her. And and may you have as great a success. Actually, based on what she does every time she wins a point. Anyway, see you soon. Good luck.
Well, thank you. And we're looking forward to having you back again.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks a lot.
To all of our viewers, thank you again for joining us today. We're just getting started on what will surely be a thought-provoking day. We'll just pause now for about 2 minutes while we switch connections, but don't go anywhere. Up next, I'll be sitting down with Telesat President and CEO Daniel Goldberg. On your screens, when you see it, please click Next Session to join in.